Hey guys, got in a couple portable power stations slash solar generators to take a look at. These are coming from a company called Bailibatt, and they are very budget friendly, so I'm hoping that they perform well because this might be a good option for you. You know, I've done dozens of videos on power stations. I have a whole playlist if you want to go look at it. But I feel like everybody should have one of these, even if you have like a whole house backup generator or a gas or propane generator. I still feel like these are important for people to have. There are just so many uses, from obviously camping and power outages. I use these around my house, around the property, so I don't have to run extension cords. If I need to take hedge trimmers out to do bushes or whatever, I just take one of these. They're so handy. My wife and I just went to a Christmas parade recently, and the temperatures was in the teens. I took a power station and an electric heating pad, and she sat on that and kept her warm the entire time. But I'm going to get these out of their boxes. We're going to go over all the features and specifications. I'll show you guys some uses for these. I'm going to test their capacity. Hopefully they're in that 85% range. That's kind of the industry standard. And then I'm going to give you guys some opinions on them. And I'm doing both of them in one video because they're actually very similar. One of them has a 600 watt inverter and one has a 300 watt inverter, but the battery capacity is nearly the same on them. I'll very quickly show you around the box. Bring some of the stuff up here. Again, we'll probably go over the majority of it. I just kind of want to show you how it's shipped. This box is a little bit rough. And then back here they have some tape. It's like this tab that goes in there has been ripped off. So I don't necessarily like seeing that, because if I'm a customer buying, this came from Amazon. If I'm buying that, it does not look brand new to me. Maybe this was just a mishap at the Amazon warehouse, but I still don't like seeing that. Here is the one with the smaller inverter. They misspelled generator right there, but again, I'm not going to hold that against them. I'm going to quickly show you around. Alright, let's get them out of the boxes. Alright, this is how the smaller one was shipped, wrapped. We have manual and the wall charger. This one here is the one with the larger inverter that had that tape and stuff. This plastic is only covering like half of the unit, and it looks like there's supposed to be tape right here that's not wrapped around there either. This is what came with the larger unit. So obviously the power station and a manual. No charging cables, no block. This is definitely some type of returned unit. Now I will be able to use the charging brick out of the other one. It'll go in here. I'm sure it's the same size. But that's definitely disappointing that they sent me one without the charging brick. I also believe that they have sent me one of the old units because it still has this Anderson style solar input, and the new ones do not have that on there. And this is the user manual for the larger one, and it does clearly say that there should have been an AC adapter in the box. So I'm not going to blame Bailibatt for this one missing the wall charger. And again, I can't say for certain if it is some type of return or whatever, and I don't know what that process is. But I am going to reach out to them and see if they'll send me the wall charger for this one. So this larger model is called the DW601S. And I'll throw the actual dimensions up on the screen. But basically it's 10 inches across, 6 inches deep, and a little over 8 inches high, and it weighs 7.7 pounds. Some of the safety features on this model is that it has overcharge protection, over discharge protection, high temperature protection, over current protection, and short circuit protection. Total battery capacity, which is a lithium battery, is 293 watt hours. And again, I'll test that and let you guys know the numbers I get. And you can have up to 600 watts of power being delivered out of it at any given time. So again, this is where we're going to, if we have a solar panel that has Anderson, we can plug into here, or we can take that wall charger plugged in there. You could also use a 12 volt car charger. You have to provide your own cable, but you can charge it there with 12 volts as well. These are outputs here. So if you have a portable 12-volt refrigerator or 12-volt lights, you can plug them into these right here. These are our AC outputs. Again, 600 watt inverter that's in this, 600 continuous watts, and it's a pure sine wave inverter. Over here are our USB ports. We have two quick charge 3.0 USB A's. We have two USB C's. They're both power delivery. One's a 24 watt, one's a 100 watt in and out. So this will work for laptops and stuff like that to charge them, but we can also charge this power station with a USB-C cable, and I'll show you that in a bit too. Looks like maybe just like a fan or a cooling vent or something on that side. And then we have a light back here on this side, and then some of the specifications. And this other side is another vent or cooling fan. Let's see what this display looks like. I'm just going to turn one of these on. See all the information that we have. So it looks like we have like a battery gauge and not an actual percentage of our battery. It's showing that we're using 0 watts and that we have 99 hours of battery left at this point. And let's turn these other ports on and see what we get here. All right, I just turned the AC outlets on. The fan did kick on for a second, but it's back off now. And it does say AC with like a little plug up there. I did have to hold that for maybe like 3 seconds. These other ones I just tap and they come on. Now, when I turn on both of the DC sides, I don't get anything up on the display at all. Let me know that those are on. Just the green lights on the actual buttons. Show you guys the light back here. Just one click turns it on. It's a pretty bright light. A second click goes into like a flashing mode, so if you're sensitive you can look away. And then the third is an SOS. So the smaller one is called the VER 1.0. Dimensions are around 8 inches across. I think it's about 4 inches deep and then like 6.5 inches tall, and it weighs 4.6 pounds. On the front of this one we have the display. We have a couple just regular USB-A type outlets and then a USB 3.0 outlet there. There is a USB-C. It is a power delivery, but that one's only 24 watts. And then we have a couple of barrel ports here. Again, they're 12 volts, so lights and whatever that you have that's that, you can use that there. On the side, we have 2 AC outlets, and this one is 300 watts, pure sine wave. Also back here is the input charging port. Again, so that wall charger will go in there. If we have a solar panel, we can plug that in there. Or our car charger, again not included, but you can charge it with your car. Backside we have the light and then some of the information, again just like a fan or whatever on this side. The larger one had a 293 watt hour capacity. This one is 257 watt hours, so the capacity isn't too far off on the two of them. It's just this one you can't use as high of consumption devices. Like on the other one I could plug something into it that took 600 watts. This one is only 300. Let's see what the display looks like here. This is pretty basic. It just gives me a battery again. This does not tell me remaining time. I'll see if it does once we plug something in here in a minute. But so now it's showing that I have DC powered on for these and AC for my sides over here. But again, it's not showing me any type of wattage or anything I'm going to use, but again, we'll see that in a bit. Let's check out this light. Looks like it's about the same type of light. We're going to have the flashes next, and then the SOS. So the manual says to charge these fully before first use. So that's what I'm going to do here. I've got the wall charger for the small one. We'll get that plugged in here. And it does show that we're charging there. Not sure what the display says. It looks like it says, oh, it's charging at 30 watts. So if that was 250 some watt hours, so if that were completely dead, that's going to take about 8 hours to fully charge that up. That's a really slow charge. And since I don't have a wall charger for this one, I'm going to use a USB-C cable. My wall brick is only a 60 watt, so that's all I'm going to be able to charge this up instead of the 100 that it can accept, but we'll still see what we get here. So we're getting close to that 60. Yeah, so same type thing here. This is 293 watt hours. If I were using this cable, it's going to take 4 to 5 hours. What I might try to do is see if I can plug both into this at the same time and see what we can get. So yeah, I'm going to unplug the one from over here just for a minute, just to see if it will work. And plug them both in here. That way you guys would know. Yeah, you can see our wattage just jumped to 90. So there it's going to take like 2.5 hours to charge up. And if I had a 100 watt USB-C wall charger instead of my 60, it would charge even faster than what it is now. Alright guys, quick update. I reached out to Bailibatt, told them that DW601S model that they sent me, that the box was severely damaged and that I was missing the wall charger, and they have sent me a replacement one. So I'm going to get it unboxed off camera and we'll see what's in this one. Alright, so the plastic was actually taped up on this one and we have the wall charger. When I sent them the pictures in the video, Bailibatt was very apologetic and said that one of the old units must have still been in the Amazon warehouse, because the old units still have the solar charging port right there, but the updated models do not have that anymore. I'm going to get this new one charged up so I can start showing you guys kind of what we can do with them. It looks like this charger is 24 volts at 2 amps, so we're at 48 watts. That's going to take probably, if it were completely dead, it would take close to 6 hours. I'm sure this is shipped to me at 80% or something, but let's just see here. So yeah, we're basically near the top right now, so this will probably only take an hour or so to top off. Alright, so one of the things I want to check is to make sure that these have pass-through charging. So I have the unit plugged into the wall charging, and then I have a lamp plugged in here to the unit. So I'm just going to make sure that this lamp will power on. Get the AC outlet turned on here. So that is on. Let's see if the lamp will turn on. Yep. So that works perfectly fine. Now the other thing I want to check is if, so again, let's say we had this plugged into the wall, and then let's say maybe you have a router, modem, stuff like that plugged in. I'm going to make sure that if I unplug this, that the light will still stay on. Yep, no trouble at all there. So that's almost like a UPS function. Also wanted to quickly show you guys that you can charge these with a solar panel. Ideally, you're going to have this on the outside so that your windows or doors or whatever don't prevent the UV rays from getting to the panel, but it is charging. So I think I mentioned earlier in the video, like all the different ways that you can use these, again, during power outages, camping, tailgating. There really are just so many uses. We've taken them to parades. We use them to power stuff outside, like we'll be playing cornhole and take some work lights out there. There's just so many uses. But I will show you some of the things that you can plug into these and then give you guys some tips here. So let's say that you're using it during a power outage. One of the first things that you're probably going to need are some lights. So we'll get that turned on, and And I showed the light working earlier when we did the pass-through charging, but you can see that we are working just fine here. Now, what I want to show you is that I'm using a 60 watt bulb in here. If you were using this during a power outage, I would not recommend using a standard 60 watt bulb. Instead, I would use like 60 watt equivalent LED bulbs, and these only use 9 watts instead of 60. And even better yet is if you can find these are only 2.5 watts and they put off a good amount of light. This is all that you would need. This 250 lumens will for sure illuminate a room. So try to find these ones that are low wattage. You know, let's just say that this was 300 watt hours. If you're using a 60 watt bulb, that's only going to last about 5 hours and this battery is going to be depleted. Whereas these bulbs are going to last well over 100 hours. So if you ran a light 5 hours a night, this is going to last you 20 days or whatever. And these bulbs pull so little wattage that it usually doesn't even show up on a lot of power stations, but again, plenty bright for you. Maybe you lose power in the summertime and you're going to want a fan going. So I got this fan right here. I don't know the exact wattage that this pulls, but fan is on now. That's on the lowest setting. I'll just bump it up here and see how much it shows it changes. So we're pulling, I don't know, 15 watts or whatever off of this. But instead of using an AC powered fan like that does draw quite a bit of power, I would recommend buying these little USB powered fans. This one's battery operated, but I pulled the battery out just to show you that it will run just fine off of USB power. So that's plugged in there. Got that turned on now. And again, this is more of a personal type fan. It's going to keep you plenty cool. There's multiple speeds. And it doesn't draw hardly any power compared to that other one. So I still have the light on. I'm going to keep the fan on, but kind of put it kind of in the background so it doesn't interfere with the microphone or anything. Kind of show you what else we can use here. I'm sure if you have a power outage that lasts more than a day or so, you're going to need to charge your phone up. So let's check on that. Make sure that that's going to work okay. And we are charging. Right there you can see that. I'll leave that plugged in. And maybe you have a tablet or a laptop or something like that. So we'll plug it in here. I'll use one of these USB-C ports. That should power on. And that is charging now. I kind of briefly mentioned it a little bit ago, but you can see like actively how many watts we're pulling. And then this is like your time that you have remaining. So basically if I continue to run the lights, the phones, the tablets, the fan, this will last about 11 or 12 hours. So while I have some of this stuff plugged in, I am going to test out some of these outlets and ports just to kind of see what we get here. So this looks like this is 110 volts, not 120 volt. Let's make sure that this cigarette style outlet is a 12 volt. Okay, there we go, 12.3. So yeah, that is a 12 volt outlet. And let's also make sure that these USB ports over here are 5 volts. Get this plugged in, see what we get here. Yes, 5.1 volts there. So all that's testing out fine. Another thing to quickly show you guys is when you plug things into each of the ports or outlets, it'll tell you up here. So I still have this lamp plugged in, so it says that the AC is in use. I have something plugged into the power delivery USB-C, So that tells me right there type C, and then I have something plugged into that USB port. All right, so I'm gonna get some of this stuff cleared off the table and then check out the smaller unit here. So before I start plugging things into this one, I do just want to make it clear that you cannot power really large consumption devices like a microwave, a dryer, your furnace, basically things that have more than 400 or 500 watts, space heaters, stuff like that. These small power stations are not designed to do that. The really large ones can, but those ones are super expensive, usually several $1,000s. And you still would not want to run a space heater off of those for very long because it's going to draw them so fast that you couldn't use it for anything else. So the devices that I'm showing you here is really what you should use these small ones for. All right, let's get this one powered on. Let's get the AC turned on. All right, so our ports are on now. So first thing is, if you have rechargeable batteries, whether they're AA's, AAA's, 18650s, whatever it might be, this would be great to charge up those types of batteries. If you have USB powered lights, which I would definitely recommend investing in them, these are like $10, but these work so well. And again, you can use them with power stations. You can even use these types of lights with these little portable battery banks, but these are really nice to have during power outages. And speaking of that, let's say we need to recharge this. Plug it into that USB-C port, and you can see that we are charging that up now. So I still have another USB type A port right there that's open that I could plug another phone into. I still have these barrel ports that are open. That I could put some lights or whatever on. But let's go to these AC outlets back here. I just plugged in this modem. I don't know if you just saw the lights were on right there, but you'll see the lights are on up here. So again, no power, but you still have your laptop and you still need to work. And we've used this type of setup numerous times for my wife because she works from home. So you'll still have internet. You can charge your laptop if you need to, but modem and router, and you're still good to go. I think I said earlier in the video that we just went to a Christmas parade, and it was literally in the teens. I think it was maybe like 13 or 15 degrees or something like that. And so we took an electric heating pad, and you can see we're on here, highest setting, and my wife sat on this during the parade and was almost sweating. It worked so well. Again, this thing literally weighs nothing. It's just a couple pounds, and so this is so portable. You'll take stuff like this with you. Let's check the AC voltage here. Make sure we're at least 110. So it looks like we're around 115 on this one. And let's check the outlets here, make sure we're at least 5 volts. 5.19. So all that again is testing out fine. So the smaller unit does not show you how many watts you are using, but it does say if you have your AC, something plugged into that, if you have the USB going, if you have the type C going, and then your DC outlets here. Personally, I like the other display better that does show how many watts you are using and how much time you have remaining. It's just kind of nice to be able to know that information. So this here is what we use our power stations for quite a bit, is setting a TV out on our deck during college football season. We'll have a fire going, and the only thing I need to plug that TV into is a power station. I don't have to find extension cords and then drag them 30 feet across the deck or anything like that. It's so nice to be able to just take one of these little power stations. You can also use these for any type of projectors, or anything else you want to put out there. Here's another use that I use my power stations for quite a bit, is just use them for power tools. In the backyard, I got a whole line of hedges, bushes, shrubs, stuff like that. And again, instead of stringing 2 and 3 extension cords together, I just take a hedge trimmer with a power station, and you can see it works perfectly fine, and it's really quick and convenient to use the power stations to use tools like this. So the next thing I'm going to do is fully charge both of these power stations back up. Then I'm going to take a watt meter or kilowatt meter and basically check the capacity of each of them. I believe this one said it was 293 watt hours and this one was 257 watt hours. So I'm going to see how close to those numbers actually are. We hope for at least 80%, maybe 85%, and I'll report back those numbers to you guys. Alright, so here's the setup. This will take me a couple of days to probably fully test both of these. I have them fully charged up right now. So basically what I'm going to do is turn the AC outlets on, and then I'm going to clear this here or reset it so that it's at 0. Alright, that has been reset. I'm going to unplug that. So now it's only running off the power station. I have a 60 watt bulb here and a 60 watt bulb here. They're both plugged in right here. Now technically that should be 120 watts. It's only showing 95 there on the screen. It's because that's 110 volts instead of 120. But basically I'm going to leave these go until this power station is fully depleted. If we're at 94 watts, it's saying this is going to take a little over 2 hours. Then it's going to take me several hours to charge this back up to full and do the test again. I'm going to do it a total of 3 times with each power station, and then I'm going to take an average and see how close we are to those rated capacities. And the kilowatt meter is showing just over 100 watts right now. I know it's upside down, but that's just the only way I could plug it in there. But I'll let you guys know how many watt hours we get at the end of this. So I've been at this for about 2 hours or so, and just wanted to show you guys that when you get to under an hour, it does show you the number of minutes that you have remaining. Okay, so I've ran that test 3 times on each power station. The larger one, I averaged out to 228 watt hours of the claimed 293 watt hours, which makes this one 78% efficient. And then the smaller one, I got 210 watt hours of the claimed 257, making it 82% efficient. So what are my thoughts on these Bailibatt portable power stations? Let me start with a few negatives or cons. I did not like how I received that first unit that was clearly a returned unit. That's probably not Bailibatt's fault. It's probably like an Amazon warehouse issue. And I will say that as soon as I contacted Bailibatt, they immediately corrected it. So I give them credit for that. I personally don't like it how there isn't any branding anywhere on either unit. The Amazon listing for like the large one shows their logo and stuff right here on the front, but there's nothing obviously on this one. And the smaller one is the same thing, shows the logo right there. However, it's missing from these. Even if you look at the information back here, it doesn't give the company name anywhere. Another thing, just again, personal preference, I don't like how this handle is sloped on one side. It's uneven, and it makes it kind of uneven to carry it. When you try to fit your whole hand in here, you want to kind of be in the middle of the unit, and it's just somewhat awkward to carry this the way it is. I just kind of wish it went all the way across just like it is on this side. I'm sure if they did it for some kind of design reason or aesthetics or whatever, I just personally don't like the way that is. My preference would actually be to have the handles just kind of built into the side. That way, if I wanted to like store this in a cabinet, it would take up less room, or if I wanted to stack something on top of it, it would be possible. Another thing I didn't care for is just how slow these things charge. This one here was around 30 watts. And again, it's, 200 plus watt hours. And as you get near the end of the charging, it actually slows down to even less than 30. This thing takes well over 8 hours to charge. And if you use just the wall charger with this, it was like 40 some watts. Same thing, almost 8 hours. You can plug in that USB-C on this one and get over 100 watts. So this one will charge faster, but you have to use 2 cables and 2 bricks to get it there. Another preference of mine, and again, most of these things are not anything that's wrong with these units, it's just things that I prefer, is I would actually like the light that's back here to be on the front. If you had to use this in the dark, being able to see like where your ports and stuff like that are is so much more beneficial, having that light up here somewhere. And I don't even know if I really even showed that much in the video, but you have basically just a light, you have a flashing, and then an SOS. And most people don't even use these lights that are on here, but it's actually a really low draw. It's like a 1 or 2 watt light. So they're actually kind of decent and handy. But yeah, I like them to be up here somewhere so everything is on one side. Again, imagine if I put this in a cabinet, like if I lived in a van or camping or whatever, that light's not going to serve me any purpose being back there. I need it out here in the front. And the last kind of negative I'll say is that both units were a little bit on the lower side as far as efficiency goes. I think this one was 78%, that one was 82%. Kind of the industry standard is at least 85%. So we're close, but not quite there. And again, I like to say that most of those negatives are just personal preferences or things I'd suggest maybe changing or adding to future models. Because overall, I think these are really good units and would be a really great buy for most people. And speaking of that, I've had these a little over a month. And what I typically do is I start watching the price as soon as I get them on Amazon. And this larger one has been around $150 almost the whole month. It's actually $160 right now. They come in at $260, and then there's always this $100 coupon. They were $250 with a $100 coupon. So either way, $150 to $160. And that puts it right at 55 cents a watt hour. And the smaller one is at $140 right now. It was actually $130 for almost the whole month. And then there's always this $30 coupon on that. So somewhere around $100 to $110 for the small one, which puts it around 43 cents a watt hour. And I've had a lot of power stations over the years, and those prices are just about the best that you're going to find. I talked about a lot of the reasons that you would want to use one of these. I showed a lot of things you could plug into them. But other things are like people who live in apartments that cannot have gas generators. Maybe somebody who has trouble moving a gas generator around, maybe an elderly person. But these are so lightweight compared to a gas generator, and these do not make any noise or have any fumes or anything like that. So they're completely safe to use indoors. But I will leave the Amazon links to both of these units down in the video description if you want to find out more information on them or pick one up. I know this video is a long one, so I do appreciate those of you that have stuck around this far. And if you found the video helpful or useful in any way, please give me a thumbs up. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below as well. And that's going to be it on this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.